Hey everybody, you're listening to the BTW Media Podcast, the show that explores the stories, innovations, and insights for people who love technology and the internet. Hi, I'm Faye, reporting from TNC25 in Brighton. In this episode, I sit down with Tom Fryer, Head of International Relations at GÉANT, to talk about global collaboration, long-term infrastructure strategy, and how cultural understanding drives stronger networks. Let's dive in. Hi everyone, I'm Faye. Nice to meet you again, Toms. The morning jogging was really interesting. Thank you for organizing the activity for us. Also, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Could you please give us a short self-introduction?
Hello, it's great to see you on the run this morning. Fantastic experience. What we did this morning actually really fits in with a lot of the questions and topics we're going to be discussing. So I'm Tom Fryer. I'm Head of International Relations at GÉANT. I've been at the organization since the end of 2008. And in that time, I've been working in our collaborations with network peers in Latin America, the US, Canada, and now I focus particularly on the Arab countries in North Africa and the Middle East and support our intercontinental connectivity activities.
Okay, here I prepare you 5 questions in total. The first one is, GÉANT has long positioned itself as a key facilitator of global RNA connectivity. How do you see the trends involving international collaboration, particularly with emerging world regions and their own RNA networks?
So GÉANT has been working, thanks to funding from the European Union, to support the development of research and education networks in other world regions since the early 2000s. So this is something we've been doing for nearly 25 years. And this has seen networks being developed in Latin America, North Africa and the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia Pacific, and even Central Asia. So these projects have been developing connectivity initially, but then also looking at the kind of services that we provide on top of the connectivity to enable collaboration. And one of the areas that we're looking at as connectivity improves and the opportunities for connectivity through long-term indefeasible right of use contracts where we might have access to a cable system for 25 years, we need to also focus on the long-term sustainability of the RNE networks around the world. So the projects that we're running or involved in at the moment in Africa, Africa Connect, and for the Arab countries, EU Med Plus, are focusing very much on those elements as well so that you have the full package. Because the connectivity on its own today is not enough.
You mentioned focused in traffic pattern and anticipating where future demands will come from. What are some of the key challenges GÉANT faces in making this focus, and how do you work with global partners to refine them?
Very good question. So we have historical data where we see how traffic has grown over the years, and typically we see an average of 30 to 35% increase year on year. But that can vary. And in the next few years, we're expecting some significant increases in traffic because there are major new infrastructures coming online. We're going to have the high luminosity LHC coming online. We're going to have more astronomy infrastructures such as the Square Kilometre Array. There's nuclear fusion research, and these are going to create step changes in the amount of traffic that we're going to be seeing. So we have to be able to take into account what we see as the normal patterns of traffic growth, but also the expectations of what these bigger projects are going to be bringing in terms of traffic, which isn't always easy because those projects are developing their data models at the moment. So we can't necessarily know exactly what data is going to need to go where. So we have a model. We discuss that model with how we forecast with our partners. We get their buy-in. We get information that they may have. So we put that into the model. And then we keep on revising the figures that we have year on year to adjust to go forward.
Okay, next question for you. With the current market dynamics and funding landscape for intercontinental connectivity, what delivery option do you see becoming more viable or necessary in the next few years?
So historically, we have, on the international sphere, sort of intercontinental between Europe and the rest of the world, we have procured leased connectivity at specific capacities. So it's a contract that lasts 2 or 3 years, same price every year, typically, and it would be for a specific capacity. And there might be capacity increase possibilities, but it's very strict. That means you're doing a lot of work to reprocure. What we're now seeing is long-term, as I mentioned earlier, the indefeasible rights of use, IRUs, where we can get access to a cable system for a very long time, sometimes a lifetime of the cable system, so 25 years approximately. And that gives us the security of supply that we need, the knowledge, and we're also moving away from the model of capacity to obtaining spectrum, which means that we can put the equipment in ourselves, or we can have others put the equipment in for us, and we can adjust adjust the capacity that we get out of the spectrum depending on the technology of the day, and therefore we can change the capacity we get in accordance to demands and the technologies available, which means we're very easily able to respond to future traffic increases.
So, given your extensive experience managing international partnership, how do cultural and organizational differences across the region influence how GÉANT collaborates with peer RNE network worldwide?
That's a very interesting question. We work globally and we work with all cultures and we, have our culture. GÉANT as an organization itself is very international. I think we have something, over 30 languages spoken by people that work at GÉANT. And that brings us, even within our own organization, that level of cultural awareness. But the people that work in international relations and are working with the global partners, we've all got experience in working in different environments internationally. That is important for us. And it's important, I think, to remember that, there's not one way of doing things. You've always got to keep that at the back of your mind. Everybody has a perspective on something. You've always got to listen to what that perspective is so that you can find the right way forward that works for everybody. Everybody brings something to the table and you work together to, it is work generally very well. And fundamentally, events like this, TNC, where the foundation is built, because it's about the personal connection. If you don't know the people, you won't be able to work well. Yes. And we build relationships here, which means that when you do have challenges, because there are challenges, it's not always easy, but you've got the relationship of trust, which means that everybody knows that everybody's coming from the right place, and that enables you to look for the path to find the right solution.
Okay, so looking ahead, what role do you see GÉANT playing in shaping the future global RNA network landscape, especially as new technologies and cross-sector collaboration emerge?
There's two aspects to that. There's one which is the delivery model. So the European Union has developed the global gateway concept. And for us, that means obtaining these long-term IRUs on cable systems through a collaboration with the Commission, with the European Investment Bank, with us, working then with the suppliers to get the spectrum in the right places where we need it and having that long-term vision. So that collaboration is key in shaping the future global RNE network landscape, working very closely with our partners. Because if it's connectivity that's in West Africa, WACREN, the regional network for that region, needs to be involved in the conversation and part of the whole arrangement. But then there's the technology side. So submarine cable systems have the capacity to provide Earth observation data. And that means that we can find out all sorts of things that are going on in the world. It might be triangulation to be able to detect exactly where an earthquake is happening, likelihood of tsunamis, all these kind of things. And, so smart cables, being able to detect using the the changes in what's going on in the data that's being sent along these paths and polarization and things, that can help us interpret what's going on under the sea and therefore help provide information that can, help rescue missions, can help understanding of environmental changes, etc. So I think that's a very interesting area, and it is something that we are involved in. A project called Submerse, which is looking at how cables can use more of these kind of systems to get that information.
That's a really detailed explanation. Thank you so much, Tom. Your insights today highlights how international cooperation, technology, technical foresight, and cultural understanding all play a critical role in shaping the connected future for research and education. We look forward to seeing how GÉANT continues to lead and support global collaboration. Thank you. Thank you today.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of TNC.
Thanks for joining us for another episode.